Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the regular scheduled board meeting for February the 10th, 2020 to order. If you would please all stand, I'll direct us in the invocation and the pledge. Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for another day in the Golden Isles. I ask that you please be with our administrators, teachers, and staff. I also ask that you look over all of our students as we go through the remainder of our school year. And also, please put a special blessing on this board as we make decisions that affect all students of this community. In your heavenly name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Cole with the inspiration.
Thank you, Chairman Edgy. Our inspiration tonight is provided by Risley Middle School and Dr. Joyner, and I think they have the All-State Chorus students, Corey Watkins, Zeke King, Rain Spell, and Ava Spangler, and they will perform Georgia. Thank you, Risley. Dr. Whitehead is filling in for Ms. Tate's a little bit under the weather, so thank you, Dr. Whitehead, for taking on the spotlight.
Yes, thank you. It's my pleasure to present the people, but not for the reason. Ms. Tate is not feeling well, so hopefully everyone can send well wishes her way. I'm going to ask Mr. Duke from Glynn Academy to come in with his students. Recently, Glynn Academy students attended and were named in the 2020 Georgia All-State Band. This is an honor for the students and reflects the instruction and leadership from their band director, Chris Duke. We have certificates of excellence for Kaylin Cox, Alex Greenfield, Sophie Jimerson, and Brendan Johnson. So I want to congratulate you all for making it to the All-State Band. Yeah, Mrs. Lewis is going to. Next in, we have a special young man with some skills that I know a lot of people envy, and that is in spelling. So Herschel Patel is a 4th grade student at C.B. Greer Elementary, and he recently won the 2020 Glynn County Spelling Bee as a 4th grade student. He will go on to represent the whole county at the district level, so we look forward to hearing about his experience and the next level of competition. And he did share with me that his winning word was abundance.
Right. Good job.
I think Herschel's mom is here with him as well. So. Thank you. So we also want to take a moment and spotlight for you our REACH scholars that were signed in October. You may recall that the REACH Georgia Scholarship is the state of Georgia's first needs-based mentorship and college scholarship program. The mission is to ensure that Georgia's academically promising students have the academic, social, and financial support needed to graduate from high school, access college, and achieve post-secondary success. Beginning in the 8th grade and through high school, REACH scholars are paired with a mentor and an academic coach. They must maintain good grades with a 2.5 GPA, good behavior, and attendance that meets the requirements. Scholars who successfully complete the program and graduate from high school are awarded a $10,000 scholarship that can be used at the University System of Georgia or Technical College System of Georgia. The scholarship is in addition to any other grant or scholarship the student would receive. And so for this next round of students from Glynn Middle School, we have Flora Cordova, Ama Kadua from Needwood Middle School, and Zeke King, who you just heard sing from Risley Middle School. So he's multi-talented in those areas. And our 4th student, I don't think has come in yet this evening, Esmeralda Hernandez, and she is from Jane Macon Middle School. So we're very proud of this group of students as well.
3, 2, 1. All right, thank you.
So we had an opportunity to recognize some individual students, and now we have an opportunity to highlight some of our leaders from several of our schools. C.B. Greer, Satilla Marsh, and St. Simon's Elementary Schools are among 87 public schools in Georgia to be named to the Distinguished Schools list. So we all know how many public schools are out there. So they are part of a very small subset, 87. They are among that 87, which places them in the highest performing 5% of Title I schools in the state. And this was based on their rankings on the most recent CCRPI scores. Similarly, Golden Isles and Sterling Elementary Schools were recognized as reward schools, or 2 of approximately 86 schools that represent the top 5% of Title I schools making the greatest improvements. In order to receive this distinction, Title I schools have to maintain the performance of their economically disadvantaged students, students with disabilities, and English language learners. Greer, Satilla Marsh, and St. Simon's Elementary Schools will be eligible to apply for the National Title I Distinguished School Recognition next school year. So, again, very proud of the work that's happening in our schools. Golden Isles, Satilla, St. Simon's, and Sterling. Thank y'all very much. Well, hey, y'all get your picture with us.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
And our final spotlight this evening gives us an opportunity to recognize a newcomer to our group. You recently had an opportunity to meet Miss Shelley Daniel, who is coming in as our new Food Services Director. And in July of 2019, we learned that Shelley was named the Director of School Nutrition as the Georgia School Nutrition Association's Director of the Year. She was later recognized at the School Nutrition Association's award session as well. And so we're very pleased that she's joined our ranks, and definitely want to make sure that she was recognized publicly for that accomplishment. So thank you, and that concludes the spotlights.
All right, well, that brings us down to the Citizens Address to Board section. We've got one person signed up. Before we step up, I want to read this preamble. The Board of Education has adopted a policy that permits citizens, under certain circumstances, to address the board on a variety of topics of general concern to the operation of our schools. We welcome visitors to board meetings and are interested in hearing from the taxpayers and patrons of our school system. We have a few simple rules for public comment. Each person wishing to address the board must sign this roster. Each person is limited to 5 minutes, and the public comment portion of the meeting will not exceed 30 minutes. Any citizen who has a specific complaint involving an employee must first address the issue with the superintendent, and if not resolved, then may request to speak with the board. However, certain matters involving personnel and students must be heard in closed session. The superintendent will inform you whether your complaint is one which should be referred to an executive session with the board. By signing this sheet, you're agreeing to abide by these rules. Today, like I said, we only have one person, and that's Miss Kim Robinson. You have 5 minutes, ma'am?
All right, I'll try to use every minute of it.
Hey.
Some of you board members ran on a platform of transparency. My question to you is, were you serious or were you not being honest? We come to meetings and little has changed. People sign up to speak and in the end the chair says something like, next item on the agenda? The concerns of the public are expressed but not heard. It is not enough to hold town meetings and require questions to be submitted in advance. If you are being honest, you ought to be able to answer questions without practicing first. Let's change this. With our leader espousing so much hate and being unjust in our world, we must see the need to do better. If you see someone doing wrong and you turn your head, you are just as much a part of the problem as the perpetrator. As board members, you cannot continue to turn a blind eye. Case in point, while teaching in middle school, a teacher said, and I quote, "If teachers could kill a child, I'd kill that child." Well, unbeknownst to him, that child was a nephew of mine. Yes, I told the parents there was a meeting and I was not even invited to be in on the meeting. This tells me that the school system did not really want to get to the bottom of the reality of the truth. The teacher was not suspended, nor was he fired. He soon after got promoted to a cushy job downtown. Other infractions were in display of swastikas mask on the wall and a social studies project in the hallway displaying an African American being lynched. I am all for freedom of speech, but how many of you would want to have to walk past this display of your ancestors on a daily basis? The principal was later promoted to assistant superintendent. It seems that teachers who are comfortable in their skin and take a pride in who they are receive the worst treatment. I personally know of 3 African American teachers who filed EEOC complaints against the same principal. In retaliation, all 3 were treated horribly and in essence forced to move on while the administrator was promoted. Other teachers who have good classroom management skills are bombarded with larger classrooms and continually have the roughest kids. Yes, they can handle it, but no, do they want to on a daily basis? The weak teachers are just cajoled and given the best homerooms. I say we as educators know how retaliation comes in many forms. If you really want the truth, just ask me. I'll school you. Administrators in this building are continually hiring family and church members at the expense of others who have proven track records in this county. They are on the super fast track and receive the cushy jobs that pay more than the day today and the grind of teachers. It definitely is not what you know, it's who you know. I love our kids, and we see the potential that most of them have. Unfortunately, I feel some board members have proven that what they believe in is all lip service. If this were not true, Risley program would never have been canceled. And the no weapons incident would not have resulted in girls getting kicked out of going to school in the whole county. Student had gone fishing and supposedly forgot he had several guns in his car, and he was cajoled and placed on the fast track to graduation. As an education institution, we must do better. Our kids must see role models on every level so they can see people who look like them and teaching level and above. Visit our schools and be honest about what you see. Check out our books, and are they still studying history devoid of people of color who served proudly in World War I or World War II? Students don't even see African Americans serving during that time. In my household, between myself and my 5 men, we have served 40 years either as enlisted or officers in the military. Most of our required reading books are about stories where African Americans are at least start out being treated inhumanely. We need history, not his story. We must do better. Time is now. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gann. And thank you and your family for your service. All right, that brings us, no more on there. That'll bring us to the consent agenda items.
Approval of the agenda.
Approval of the consent agenda item. I'm
Oh.
sorry, yeah, number 6.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to accept the motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Dr. Yerrigan, second by Rev. Bobbitt. Any discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous. All right. Consent agenda items. I would like to add 8, 9, 10, 11, 12A, B, C3, D1, and E. Any additions or deletions? Hearing none, I'll read back through these. Number 8 is appointment of a candidate to participate in the National School Boards Conference, April 4th through 6th, 2020 in Chicago. The board has selected Mr. Mike Holsey to go represent us at National. So that's number 8. Number 9, approval of the revised 2020-2021 school calendar. Number 10 is approval of the January 9th, 2020 work session meeting minutes. 11 is approval of the January 14th, 2020 regular board meeting minutes. 12 is the superintendent's report. Under item A is personnel, B field trips, C3 is the good report, D1 is the financial report for December 2019, and E is policy. Again, any additions or deletions? I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
So moved.
Reverend Bobbitt, Second?
Second.
Dr. Jurgen? Any discussion? None? Hearing none. All those in favor? It's unanimous. All righty, well, I guess that brings us to Dr. Cole and
All
our
right.
facilities.
Thank you, Chairman Edgy. I think the item we have, couple we have remaining is the approval of the new Altama Phase 2 site development change order. So, Mr. Boudreaux, if you want to quickly overview that, please.
Change order number 2 for phase 2 of the site development at Alabama Elementary School is actually a credit back to us for unspent balance of our owner's contingency in the amount of $55,572.50.
So it would be my recommendation to accept this change order as a credit back to us for this.
In the amount of $55,572.50.
That's exactly right. Yes,
Good
sir.
deal. Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Okay, Ms. Sams, second.
Second.
Bobbit. All in favor? It's unanimous.
All right, the next item is Edo Miller field upgrade. So, Mr. Boudreaux, I'll turn it back over to you as well for that one.
We covered this in the work session, but the recommendation tonight is to award to Tyson Construction the Edo Miller Lanier Field renovations in the amount of $364,600. And Tyson was the highest rated and lowest cost proposer, which is always good.
So it will be our recommendation to accept Tyson Construction as the one that we go with for this improvements to the Edo Miller and Lanier Fields in the amount of, is it $364? $600.
I've got my glasses on today. I got y'all.
All right,
I've
you're
got
good.
y'all glasses. I can see everything. I see the future over here. All right. We'll make that in form of a motion.
I make a motion that we approve Tyson's bid of $364,600.
That's right.
Motion by Mr. McDowell. Can I get a second?
Bless you.
Second.
Second. Reverend Bobbitt, this is the second. Sorry, Dr. Jurgen. All right, any discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous.
Okay, thank you. And I think the next item we have is under finance. We spoke about this at our work session about the intercom system at Goodyear and would like to replace that. And ask your approval. And if Ms. Preston can give us a quick update on please.
About this at the work session, the intercom system at Goodyear is in dire need of a complete change. Can you click on the bid tabs? And we are going with also with the lowest bidder and the highest ranked vendor of A3 Communications for $66,103.28.
Okay, our recommendation again is to accept A3 Communications out of Jacksonville for $66,103.28.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Dr. Jurgen, second.
Second.
Sams. Any discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous.
That's all the items I think we have.
Okay. That
Edgy.
brings us down to executive session. I don't believe we have any land, legal, or personnel issues. All right, hearing none, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Reverend Bobbitt, a second.
Second.
Dr. Jurgen, any discussion? All those in favor? It's unanimous, 7-0.
Time.
At 6:24.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.